Stupid monkey.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gurinator, and here we are with Brothers War, Match of the Gathering, and I wanted to look at it from a standard brawl, since that's one of my favorite game modes to play. So really, we'll just be focusing on a couple cards here and deciding on what do we think of them, just from an initial standpoint, just getting a read of what I feel like, and let's get into some of my criteria. I really look for cards that are, when I'm making a deck at least, I'm looking for cards that can have huge payoffs so they can be their own engine. They When you play them, they are easy to play, so low cost, and if they're hard to play, they better have a condition in which just is a game winning condition, right? For people who know, there's a Toxolora, which is that slug monster who's a 7-drop. It's a game winning card, right? Just by itself. Um Joda, which is hard to play, and it's a 5-drop, is could be a game winning card. It's its own engine as well. So those are the type of commanders I'm really looking to see if there's any of, and let's get into it. So let's start with whichever one I have on this tab first, a Mythic Spoiler. I'm gonna probably butcher their names too. Myrel Shield of Argive. This is my first time seeing them. So during your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Myrel Shield of Argive creates attacks, create a 1/1 color soldier artifact creature token with X number of soldiers you control. Okay, so this card can get out of hand if it gets to attack a couple of times. Unfortunately, it is a 3/4 and 4/4, so it does run into the issue of a lot of creatures will be able to kill it around turn 5 if they have been playing them on curve. It does stop your opponent from doing a lot of things during your turn. Your opponents can't cast spells. Yeah, so it stops your opponent from being able to interact with you outside of their turn, which is huge. However, I don't think that this card initially is going to be the best. The reason is because you need to play it on turn 3 or 4, swing, make a soldier, and then swing again to make 2 more soldiers. And if it gets removed, now it's a 6-drop. And do I want to pay 6 mana for this? No, because I don't really want to pay 4 mana for this. The 3 mana version of this card really is that 0/4 that gets stronger as it has more cards out. And this one doesn't get stronger, which is one of the issues. Also, I believe that also has vigilance, and this doesn't have vigilance either, which is another issue for this. It could work very well in a lot of the go wide decks as a 1 of 60 card, but I wouldn't say that this would be a commander I would see being played. So I would say it could definitely in those decks be a staple 60. So I'll definitely put it in there. Let's go to the next one. Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. Praetor? I think I said that right. 3 mana, okay, lower mana curve, 3/3. When a creature does combat damage to one of your opponents, okay, its controller may pay 1 life. Great. If they do, they draw a card. Okay, so immediately, if you play a creature on turn 1 or 2 and you get to attack, you can immediately get a payoff of drawing a card, which is huge. That's very good. And then it has a 7 mana, discard X cards, exile top X cards of your target's opponent's library. Wow, that's super powerful in late game, which is great because as this gets harder to play, because you want to play on turn 3, draw cards. So you're going to draw cards and then get into the fact that you can play cards from your opponent's hand by discarding X cards of your own. So if you just keep a bunch of lands that you don't need in hand, or you just have a lot of filler cards, you can remove them all and drop them in your opponent's deck. That's pretty powerful. I think that's super fun and a great rampy black deck. Can black support this right now? I think it can. It has a lot of cards that may be better commanders. Like the discard, like the Planeswalker Liliana. Then we also have that other Nightmare Arisen. But this card still is really strong for 3. I would say right now I'm gonna put this card as it has a lot of potential. Just the fact that it's can play early game, draw you cards, late game, big bomby ability. Very swingy ability too. Teferi. Teferi is just another ridiculous Teferi. When you draw a card, put a loyalty counter on Teferi. 0, draw a card. That's pretty stupid. Create a 2/2 vigilance. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1. So it can protect itself with its 2 by playing a creature. I'd rather have removal, but, Teferi can't always be incredibly ridiculous. And return it to its owner's hand. Then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into its owner's library. It's an okay ultimate, but I mean, I think it has. I can't see this Teferi being the one who is the commander. I think there's enough other Teferis that you would want one of those as the commander. Also, the fact that it's only blue may limit you as well, because I believe the other Teferi was blue-white. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't see it being your commander or being a strong commander right now. I don't even know if it would be a staple 60 because you need a very niche draw. You need a draw only type deck to make this card really work for you. Would I be a staple even in mono blue? I don't think so because on 5, you're drawing a card with it or making it 2/2. I don't see it. I see it being a very, very niche decks. And because of that, I'm gonna put it in the potential 60 for now. Titania, Voice of Gaia. Okay, 3 mana, reach, 3/4. Okay, good stats. Whenever one or more lands cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, wow, okay, you gain 2 life. Alright, so it's not that big of an effect. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more land cards in your graveyard, and you both own and control this card, in a land card named Argarth Sanctum of Nature, exile them and then meld them into the Gaia Incarnate. And this is Gaia Incarnate. Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste. How tough is equal to the number of lands. Just a big, beefy boy. Okay, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on target land you control. It becomes a 0. But that costs 4 mana to be played. Like, this is a strong card. Don't get me wrong. But it doesn't ramp you. You need other things to make this work. Because you're not getting ramped from this, because you're putting them in your graveyard. You can use fetch lands, yes. But you're mono green if you run it as your commander. So the amount of fetch lands go down to, I think, 1, which is not good. So I don't think that this can be played as your commander. I think it's going to be in the 60 of, I think, maybe one deck in particular. So it's a potential 60 for this card. And that one deck is going to be Soul of Windgrace, right? Because Soul of Windgrace lets you discard lands and manipulate your lands. So that's going to be really good for that type of deck. But that's it. That's the only place I can see the card really working at the moment, right? Let's go to the next one. Lorn of the Third Path. When Lorn of the Third Path, so it's a 3 mana, 2/1 vigilance. When Lorn of the Third Path enters the battlefield, destroys the 1 target artifact or enchantment. You and your target. I mean, this is a really cool card for a group hug deck for real commander, but since this is Brawl, it's not going to be as much fun just to let your one opponent draw a card because you can't manipulate your opponents to want to help you or keep it around. Because of that, I don't know if I would want to do this. It has to enter the battlefield effect, meaning that it only gets to do this effect once. So I think it's going to be really powerful for white decks or any deck utilizing white in any form of the matter, because it gives you a 2/1 body. It destroys something for you that you probably want to destroy. And if you really need to draw a card, you could draw a card. You give your opponent a card, but sometimes that doesn't matter as much. I could definitely see this being a staple in almost all decks running white in their card pool. And that's mainly because it destroys something and puts a creature on the field, which are both extremely powerful things, and things that are they're always wanted in Commander and or just Brawl in general. Okay, Gwen, Eyes of Gaia. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells with activated abilities of a creature or creature card. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter. Alright, so this is another one of those cards that it can be super powerful as a one of the 60 for Joda, for Windgrace, for any deck running green in general, because it helps you get more creatures cards out. Anything that wants creatures out, this is going to be a staple for. Absolutely. Turn 3, potentially turn 2 if you have any type of ramp. I see this card doing wonders, especially as a 2/3 body. Wow. I think this card's a staple 60 right now. We'll see how well it does. Lost where I was. I should probably just be exiting out of these, right? No, just in case I want to go back and talk about them, we'll keep them there. Next one is Drafna, founder of Latnam. 2 mana, alright, 2/1 with 2 effects. Return target artifact to control to its owner's hand. Okay, cool. Not a tap ability. Very interesting. Copy target artifact spell you control. The copy becomes a token. Wow, that could be pretty gross. Copy target artifact spell you control. Wow, that's huge. This is a really cool card because you could, if the artifacts matters is blue, is usually something to do with blue too, which is awesome. This has a lot of potential. Like I said, looking for cards that do something by themselves, right? This comes in at 2. It can help you protect your important artifacts, and it also can help you copy artifact spells. Both of those are huge abilities. 3 being a pretty bomby ability, especially for 3 mana. We need to see what artifact cards are currently in standard. We have more sets to come. I definitely think this card has potential, like a lot of potential. I don't know which one to put it in, honestly, because of how strong its ability is, and it's a 2-drop. I need to look more into what is in standard for artifacts, but it's huge. That's a huge ability. Let's go to the next one. Ashnard Flesh Mechanist, 1 mana, 1-drop, Death Touch. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, create a tapped Power Stone token. Okay, so that's helpful for rampy type artifact decks. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Alright, create a tap 3/3. Okay, so it's not the best. I could see this being played in a lot of black decks because it's Death Touch. And then I could see the fact that you could exile things to get 3/3 being helpful late game. So it's good because it's early game, Death Touch, 1/1. Protects your field. And then late game, you can get rid of some creatures out of your graveyard to make zombie artifacts. So I could see this being a potential 60. It may be good just in mono black. I think any of these guys could be good in Joda, right? A 1-drop creature is really good in Joda because then you could just you'll always get something essentially when you play a legendary in front of it. Next one. Feldon Ranam Excavator. 2-drop, 2/2 haste. Can't block. Alright. When Feldon is dealt damage, exile that many cards on top of your library. Choose one of them until end of your next turn. You may play that card. Super good for red aggro. It doesn't help your red aggro too much. It's a little too random for me. I think that if you're playing a mono red aggro, you can play it, but I think that's about it. Yeah, I would say that's about it for that one. Alright. Hercule Master Wizard. 3-drop, mono blue, 2/4. At the beginning of your end step, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Okay? Beginning of your end step, if you cast a non-creature, okay, so just play a spell, you get to look at the top 5 cards you'll play for each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn. So instant, sorcery, enchantment, planeswalker, artifact. Okay. You may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Okay, so you don't have to play all those types. You could literally just play instances and just play your whole deck instances. And that way, every time you play an instance, you reveal top 5, you get instance from the top 5 into your hand. That's pretty freaking strong. Constantly let you fill your hand. It's an engine itself. You can't spell sling because that's the beginning of your end step. You get it. So you're not gonna be able to spell sling with it, but you'll always be able to get something back after you play it. I think it has potential then, because it's early game enough, has a big enough butt as a 2/4, and it does everything you need to do itself, and just needs you to play the rest of your deck to make it even better. All right, Urza Power Stone Prodigy. Draw a card, then discard a card. Three mana. Oh my god, I gotta go back to top. Urza Power Stone Prodigy, 3-drop. Vigilance, 1/3. Okay, weak stats for a 3-drop. Draw a card and discard a card. Weak ability for a 3-drop. But alright. When you discard one or more artifact cards, create a tapped Power Stone token. This ability triggers once each turn. So you can't even like untap it, retap it, untap it, retap it to get to discard. And you can't even just use discard with it, and it's in mono blue. I don't think it's that good unless there's something I'm missing of Power Stones being just good for artifacts, right? Add this mana can only be spent to cast can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Yeah. So I don't think it's a potential 60. I don't think it's playable right now. I need to find out if there's more Power Stoney type cards, or if I'm missing something. Maybe I'll do some research on this one. Next one, Mishra Excavation Prodigy, 3-drop, 2/1 haste. 1 man, discard a card, draw a card. Okay, so another one of these excavation. So they must be a part of like a Prodigy line that I didn't know exists. But all right. These people are okay. I know who these people are now. Whenever you discard one or more artifact cards, okay. Add 2 mana. This ability triggers only once each turn. So you discard a card. If you discarded an artifact card, you gain 2 mana back and you draw a card. And it has haste, so we could do it immediately when it comes into play. It's better, but I still... There must be a deck that needs all of these Power Stone type cards to make this work. These two would be in the same deck together. These unplayables, right? So whatever their payoff card is, that's who I want as my commander. But right now, I don't see that yet. So let's look at the next one. Scry 1, you may tap and untap. Oh, you know who cares about Power Stones? Is Karn from last set. Is ultimate allows you to tap Power Stones to deal 1 damage, right? I mean, that's one reason to use them. But that's an ultimate you're banking on. So let's see, Safiri, Filigree, Master. Scry 1. Okay, you may tap an untapped artifact you control. If you do, draw a card. Okay, good effect. Very artifact heavy. Create 2 1/1 colorless stoppers. That's a great effect. That and they gain haste. Okay, so like she can protect herself at 4 mana. Great. And then at 4, alright, so you're only 1 away from being able to do it. You get an emblem of artifact creatures you control get +1/+1, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Wow. Okay. So Healy is looking pretty good. The fact that you get to her ultimate 1 turn after you drop her is huge. If you pay 2 to make 2, you do another protector. Hopefully you get 2 more turns, potentially 4, and you pop it too. This is one of those types of abilities that if your opponent gets to, if you get to play and pop the effect twice, your opponent's most likely going to concede unless he already has board on you. Just because everything you're going to get is going to be so ridiculously reduced in cost and just so strong. I see her having potential. Definitely having potential because of that. Let's go to Urza. Alright, Lord Protector. Artifact instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It's unfortunate that you can't play these two in the same deck. 7. If you both own and control Urza and an artifact named the Might Stone and Weak Stone, which I have over here for us to look at, you can meld them. Okay, so 3 mana, 2/4. Let's look at that. 3 mana, 2/4. Good stats. Reduces costs. Great. The Might Stone would then cost 4 mana, and then when it comes to the battlefield, you could draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -5/-5 on a turn, so it's removal. And you can also use this to tap and get more mana for. Okay. For non-artifact. For artifacts only. Alright. But the problem is that you need to go find this in your deck. If he was your commander, you need to find this in your deck. The one copy in blue-white, blue would have to be the way you find it, which is a lot of draw. You have to get this into your hand, play it, hope it lives, because your opponent sure as shit is going to be playing things to remove artifacts. Every Brawl deck does. And they know that you're playing Urza, so they're going to be definitely holding it up. Wow, this is really small. Can we... Okay, let's see here. You may if you do get all that to work for you, you may activate the loyalty ability that powers twice. Okay, artifact, instant, sorcery spells. You cast this turn, costs 2 less to cast. I mean, cool. You get to activate twice, but you won't be able to do your ultimate then, still. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. That's great. Create 2 1/1 colorless stop the artifact creature tokens. Okay. Removal, exile, target non-land permanent. Okay, so it protects itself, it draws. It's a bomb, right? Playing Urza Planeswalker is an absolute bomb. However, you have to juggle through this and get this off. Ugh. I don't want to say it's unplayable because I want to make it like you want to try, right? But I'm gonna say it's unplayable. Like, I'm here to be realistic. It doesn't have the support in standard. In historic, that's a different story. But in standard Brawl, it does not have enough support to work consistently, in my opinion. Nothing comes to my mind that says, oh, this of course will work every single time, or work enough of the times that I want to use it. Let's go to the next one. Misha claimed by Gix. 4 mana, 3/5. When you attack, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is a number of attacking creatures. If Mishra claimed by Gix and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, and you both own and control them, alright, so you own 2 creatures onto the battlefield, and I don't think I bringed up Phyrexian, so let's go do that in a second. Exile them, then meld them into Mishra lost to Phyrexia, and it enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So I need to go look this one up. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Alright. When Mishra loses the Phyrexian, enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 3. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Great. Deals 3 damage to any target. Wow. Destroys something. Great. Creatures you control gain menace and trample. Okay, so it's a bomb card, right? So you play this, but it doesn't have indestructible, which means that you played this and your opponent can just absolutely obliterate it because you're playing black-red. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Alright, Phyrexian Dragon Engine. 3-drop, 2/2 double strike. Not bad. Enter the battlefield from your graveyard and you may just card your hand. If you draw 3 cards. So you could unearth it, which makes it actually not too hard then to have them both on the field. Since you can just unearth it to get it out. Let's go look at... Where is he? Each of them loses X life. If mission claimed by grace and a creature named are attacking, and you both own and control them. So yeah, you can unearth, which makes it way easier to actually get. And then you can, yeah, that's actually much easier because it's here. It's in black too. Because unearth allows you to pretty much bring it back from the graveyard onto the battlefield for the turn. However, then it's exiled, I believe, if you unearth it. I could be wrong on that. I don't remember what unearth does, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't get exiled, it just goes back into the graveyard. I could be wrong. Either way, you get to bring it back, you get to play it. Let's look up MTG unearth mechanic. I forget what it says. The keyword introduced unearth. Return the permanent to battlefield against a hasted expense of the permanent being exiled. Yes. So you get to bring it back once to get this effect. How bomby is it? I mean, if you hit your opponent with it, he is going to quit the game because it's gonna cripple him because of what we were looking at before. I would say because it's in black, you have the ability to fetch through your deck. Because you can fetch through your deck, I think it has potential. Because you can go get this. You can also have black bring stuff back from the graveyard. Gives it potential. So let's go to the next one. Tokasia Dig Site Mentor. 4 mana, 4/3. Alright. I wish it was a 3/4 to be honest. We just control a Vigilance. Huge ability. And you could tap them to Surveil 1. Alright. That's huge. And then you have a Bomby ability. Let's see what it does. 2, 4, 8 mana. I got that wrong. No, I got it right. You can exile it from your exile to from your graveyard. So you want to get into your graveyard. But then you can exile it, and when you exile, you can activate the effect, do the commander, bring it back into your command zone. Return any number of target artifact cards with total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Only as a sorcery. That's still a really good ability. Gives your creatures vigilance, which is huge. You need to play this in a artifact matters deck. It's green, blue, white. But I actually think this would be the commander you play for the Urza deck. Because you'll be able to bring back the Might Stone if it goes to the graveyard. It gives you things vigilance. It lets you fetch stuff out of your graveyard by surveilling. I think this card has potential. I don't think it's a bomb. I just think it has potential. Hajar Loyal Bodyguard. 2 mana, 3/3. Sacrifice Hajar Loyal Bodyguard. Legendary creatures you control get +1, get indestructible. Alright, I mean, I don't need to read anymore. This is staple. This is a staple for the Joda deck. It's huge. It could be staple for any red-green deck, to be honest, because it protects your commander, and that's huge as well. Yeah. Just a staple. Where am I now? Arbin Vanguard Aviator. Flying 3/2. Okay, but that's good stats for a 2-drop. Oh. Did I lose my mic? No, I didn't. I just think I lost my volume on my headset, but there's no volume on this. So when you attack with 5 or more creatures you control, get a +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. When you attack with 5 or more soldiers creatures you control. So this goes into a soldier themed deck. It doesn't do the soldier theme by itself. Because it doesn't do the soldier theme by itself, it is a niche card, so it's a potential 60. You need to be playing only soldiers and have 5 of them make that work. That's very hard to do. Let's look at the next one. Tarnos the Toy Maker. When you cast a beast or bird, a creature spell, you may copy it. You have to copy an artifact in addition to its other types. Whenever you cast a beast or bird, this takes a lot more thinking. I don't know how many beast or birds we have currently in standard. I'm gonna say it's definitely not enough. And because it's not enough, I'm gonna say unplayable right now. I think it's a great card for real commander, just not a good card for Brawl. Um, okay. Urza, Prince of Krug. Artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Awesome. Great pumping ability. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. Okay, except it's a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types. Huge bomby ability. 4 mana, 2/3. Don't like the stats. However, it pumps everything else, which is big. It makes tokens at 6, which is huge. I would say this card has a lot of potential. I would say it has a lot of potential. Because it does what I wanted to do, right? It pumps stuff, so it does something when it comes out into the battlefield, and it lets you do other things that are also very bomby. And it's a 1/1 creature, but it's an artifact, so it's really a 3/3. Um, if you have any into the battlefield artifacts, if you have oh my god, what's the name of that golem? The 7-drop destroy something meteorite golem or something. You make a copy of it for 6. Destroy something and you get a 3/3 golem back. Huge. Oh wait, and can't you use this on artifacts? Can't you use power stones of that? Is that the whole thing? I could be wrong, but that'd be cool. Mishra Tamer of Makfawa. Okay. Cool looking artwork for this version of the card. Permanents you control have ward, sacrifice a permanent. Okay. Great ability. Each artifact card in your graveyard has unearth for 3. Very powerful ability. You get to exile them, which is a problem after some time. Although he looks like he wants to be an aggressive shell, something that you play a bunch out. You play this out on top of that, so they have to use a field wipe to adequately attack things. So they have to essentially, you're playing this 5-mana card to make them like, I have to kill this first because it has ward, sacrifice a permanent to make it so that you want to do other sacrifices. So you have to kill this first. Because you have to kill this first, and it's at 5 mana. Maybe potential, just because it could be put in an aggressive black-red shell that has potential. Queen Kala Bin Krug, 3 mana, 2/3. Red-white. 4 to tap. Discard all cards in your hand and draw that many cards. Okay. You may choose an artifact or creature card of mana value 1. You discard it this way. Then do the same for artifact, creature, or creature 2. And 3. Return those cards to the battlefield. Wait a minute. Wait. Let's read this again. Discard all cards in your hand. Okay. So you got nothing in your hand. Then draw that many cards. All right. Let's. You may choose an artifact or creature card. I mean, value 1. You have to have discarded this way. Then do the same for 2 and 3. I mean, it's still a huge ability because for 4 mana and you tap it, you can bring out more value than 4 mana. Thing is, though, and you draw a card to replace it. So let's think about this. You pay 4 mana. A draw is worth, I think, 2 mana or 1.5 mana. I think that's like the deemed is 1.5 mana. So if you discard 2 cards, you're paying 1 mana to get back something because it's you draw 2, discard 2, so it's 1 point something. I think it's really good just because of the fact you can discard and you draw new cards, and then you could bring those cards onto the battlefield without paying for them. Is there anything bomby you can do at 1, 2, and 3? I don't think so. I think you get out a lot of mana rocks though, which then could have potential. I think this card though has the potential to be an engine. Problem is it's white red, and what we were seeing is artifacts really living inside of the black, white, blue. Really didn't seem like there was artifacts living inside of just red. So I think that this card wouldn't be as good by itself, just because I don't know if red white has enough artifacts for you to do this with in standard Brawl. potentially, right? Because you have this red one here, but you can't play the blue one. And I would need to look at more of the artifacts. That's what I think it needs to happen here, is that you need to look at way more artifacts. Let's look at the last card on this list. Liberator, Urza's Battle Thopter. That 3 mana, 1/2. I love that. Battle Thopter. Flash and flying. You may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Really strong ability. When you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast a spell is greater than the power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. This is a staple for artifact decks. Absolute staple for any of this artifact deck. Okay, we went through all the cards I saw that had potentially be played. Do I think anything could go to top commander now? If I had to say top potential commanders, it would be these 3. Have the highest to me. And the reason is because of their abilities were all in their card. Like, they had the ability to draw cards and then do something bomby at the end. It has ability to just reward you for playing cards. It has the ability to protect things by returning them and also copy them. And they all had good mana costs. So this is what I would say my tier list is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and hopefully this goes pretty well. I guess I'll be making some fun decks. Hate that I'm making a lot of blue decks, but you know what? Maybe we'll make all the ones in the top area here, right? So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential decks, right? All right. Until the next video, I hope you guys have a great time, and we'll talk soon. Bye.